All right, it is that time again, my fellow pilgrims, soldiers, and whatever they want to call you. Attention prayer. And we pray. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, being upright to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the world. No associate as he, and this is my commandment, I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. I've been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. Grant me protection against my faults, Allah, for none grants protection against faults except thee. Turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. But guide me, Allah, to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad as thou didst bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. Surely thou art praiseworthy and magnified. And make Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad successful here in the wilderness of North America as thou didst make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. Surely thou art praiseworthy and magnified. And O Allah, we beseech your aid, your guidance, and your protection. We invoke your spirit on this meeting. We seek refuge in thee from the accursed Satan. And we thank you, Allah, for Mr. L. Ron Hubbard and the saints that he has brought to shine light and shed light on our problems. But we thank you most of all for your servants in our midst, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names we pray. Ameen. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, and that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is indeed thy true servant, the exalted Christ, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is also thy true servant, the Comforter, Holy Ghost, Messiah, Christ, Mahdi, in our midst. In their names, I say unto you, Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Walaikum salam, Ramadan Kareem.
Salam, Ramadan Kareem.
Walaikum salam, Ramadan Kareem.
All right. Here we are. Woo, man. Part 24 today. And I do understand that tomorrow that there will be a night of power recognition for the night of power coming from headquarters in Chicago. So obviously, I think they are a day behind what we are, even though our reading is on schedule with them. So we're actually on day 25. At least those of us who started on the 2nd, and those who started on the 3rd, the day that the minister opened it up, on day 24. So at any rate, we don't want to, as the minister say, we don't want to split hairs on it. I'll probably see if I can't recognize today and tomorrow. And I don't think we can recognize Allah too much as we all need him. So I just wanted to mention that in hopes that we will take advantage of this extra blessing during Ramadan. And I can remember back as early as this had to be maybe 1986 or 1987. Trying to do my own version at my house by myself of the Night of Power. And that was the first time that I ran across an ayat. Actually, it's in the reading today about it is not vouchsafed that Allah should speak to man except by revelation and behind the veil and through a messenger. And so the Night of Power is really a very, very wonderful experience. So I urge everyone to partake in it. So we're going to go until maybe around 11:20. 11:20, I'm going to dedicate the last 10 minutes to the question that Sister Tina had brought up. Well, it really wasn't a question, and it really, it's not a question. It's not a problem, not a conflict or anything. But I did promise you that I would look into it further and give you some more. I gave you some more data, because I can't give you understanding. The only thing I can give you is data. Just like the liken unto the prophets, they say that their only burden is to deliver the truth clearly. And so anyway, we're going to spend the last 10 minutes or so discussing that topic. And I thought about doing it first, but I don't want to start off with that. I want to the issue at hand is to deal with the Quran and the flagging and hopefully explanations of the ayats. So we're at part 24, and the first surahs that I have flagged was 33, 34, and 35. If you would, Sister Haviva.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Surah 33, I seek refuge in Allah against the accursed Satan within and out. Ayat 33. And he who brings the truth and accepts the truth, such are the dutiful. They shall have with their Lord what they please. Such is the reward of the doers of good. That Allah may ward off from them the worst of what they did and give them their reward, the best of what they did. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah's words speak only truth. Allahu Akbar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's not really necessary to end it with Allahu Akbar, dear sister. In the interest of time and to keep the surah, keep the words of the ayats on the mind of those who are listening. We appreciate your piety and your wonderful reading.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. I'm just so used to doing that.
It's all right. It's all right. It just shows how much you love Allah and how in tune you are with the book, and there's no problem. Yes, ma'am. So he who brings the truth and accepts the truth, such are the dutiful. So when you look at that, such are the dutiful, that can be looked upon as a definition of the dutiful. If you bring the truth, and whoever brings the truth and whoever accepts the truth, well, it is your duty. This is your duty. This is your duty, really, as a Muslim. You know, if I bring the truth, if it is the truth, if it is the exact consideration, then it's my duty. This is my duty to bring it if I have it. And if I hear it, it's my duty to accept it. Whether or not it goes against something that I was thinking prior to that point, or heretofore, as Mr. Hubbard would say, up to that point. So to bring the truth and to accept the truth, these put you in the ranks of the dutiful. And of course, the dutiful is not limited to that, but it is certainly inclusive of that. There are many more things that we do that are considered dutiful to Allah. See, they shall have with their Lord what they please. Such is the reward of the doers of good. When we do good, as we were saying, we actually begin to bind ourselves with Allah. And whatever Allah says, it comes to pass. And the more that we are integrated, our thoughts, deeds, and actions are integrated with Allah, we have the power of bringing about the things that please us. If we please Allah, then Allah will please us. 35, that Allah may ward off from them the worst of what they did and give them their reward for the best of what they did. For the worst of what we do is generally could be put into the category of things that we did when we were acting other than self. And the best of what we did, this is what Allah wants. He doesn't care, as the lessons say, about the poor part. He saved the best part for himself. And Allah gives us the reward for the best. And when we start talking about the definition of good being aid and help, well, then you have gradients of good that we see all the time. Say when we retail shopping, we'll see something that's good, and then we see something that's better, and then we see something that's the best. And of course, you pay the most for the best. The great philosopher and blues singer John Lee Hooker said, "Nothing but the best. Later for the rest." All right. Moving on. The train is moving on to Ayat 41. Unless somebody got something in between there that they like to flag. All right, we're going to go 41 and 42.
Yes, sir. Ayat 41. Surely we have revealed to thee the book with truth for the good of men. So whosoever follows the right way, it is for his own soul. And whoever errs, he errs only to its detriment. And thou art not a custodian over them. Allah takes men's souls at the time of their death, and those that die not during their sleep. Then he withholds those on whom he has passed the decree of death and sends down others back till an appointed term. Surely there are signs in this for a people who reflect.
Thank you, sister.
I'm not going to say it. I
All
might have
right.
one clip, brother, but
It's all right. It's all right, sister. I thank Allah. I thank Allah for your humble spirit. Yes, ma'am. And for you in general, you know. And I
thank
think
you.
I think as we go through this month reading the Quran, you know, you probably have gained a lot of more friends as well as people who love you just for what you do and what you have done. So thank you. I just, you know, that's kind of a small thing, but you know, I think it's big enough to recognize, you know.
Yes, sir. I read the Holy Quran in the mornings, and so that's why it comes out like that.
Yes, it's all right.
Online. Yes, sir.
It's quite all right. We're not here to judge nobody or nothing like that. We're trying to build
Yes,
civilization, you know, and it's done by us all supporting one another. So it says in 41, we reveal to thee the book of truth, the book with truth for the good of man, to help man. So whoever follows the right way, it is for his own soul. And whoever errs, he errs only to its detriment. And thou art not a custodian over them. So the book is revealed, you know, to help us, you know, to aid us in our journey and to aid us in our becoming one, returning back to Allah. So our following the right way, basically it is for our own soul. And it's almost like we were talking about the other day about getting thrown into the water. You thrown into the water to learn how to swim, you know, we all have to. Oh, we are responsible. We're responsible for following the right way because it is in us to follow the right way. The right way is a part of the soul, which is reflected in the ayat that says that the right way is clearly distinct from the wrong way. So that means, at least partially, that the right way is etched in the soul. You know, it's a part of the soul. So whoever follows it, it's good for them. And if you err, you only err to your own detriment. And thou art not a custodian. So, and I think that's real important too, that the prophet is not a custodian. He's not his job is not really to clean up after us. You see, that we all have a certain responsibility for ourselves because we have the tools to make the right decision, you know. But we are in that time where Allah he's separating and he's judging and he's ready to build a new kingdom. And he's looking to see who has, you know, who is comprised of the material that he desires to use in the building of his kingdom. So the book is to rehab us, you know, to put us back on the right track and make us back on a good track. And the book, the receivers of the book are responsible for what they have received. Okay? And so he gives you the book without claiming, he's not responsible for cleaning up after you, or he's not responsible. It's where it's in other places in the Quran, it says that he's only responsible for a clear delivery of the truth. 42, Allah takes men's souls at the time of death, and those that die not during their sleep. Then, takes the soul at the time of death, and those who don't die during their sleep. So he takes the soul, at death and when you sleep. We talked about this, and the minister talked about this not too long ago. So then he withholds those on whom he has passed the decree of death. So he holds on to you. If your number come up, if it's your day, well, that's it, and sends the others back till an appointed term. And so the minister was talking about, brother minister Abdul Rahman's janazah, that it's a fixed term. He said, but the thing is that you and I, we fix our own term. All right. Surely there are in this signs for people who reflect. Okay, moving along. 47 through 49, Sister Haviva.
Brother Bateen, the
Yes.
maintenance man just came in. Can I have someone else read for this portion?
Okay. That's right. So that's all right.
I'll come right back. I'll come right back.
Let us know when you come back. This is
okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody want to volunteer?
I don't mind.
Go ahead, Sister Jacqueline.
I have 47 through 49.
Yes.
And had those who do wrong, all that is in the earth, and the like of it with it, they would certainly offer it as ransom from the evil of the chastisement of the day of resurrection. And what they never thought of shall become plain to them from Allah. And the evil of what they wrought will become plain to them, and that which they mocked, it will beset them. So when harm afflicts a man, he calls upon us. Then, when he gives him a boon from us, he says, I have been given it only by means of knowledge. Nay, it is a trial, but most of them know not.
Okay. 47. Those who do wrong, all that is in the earth and the like of it. They would offer everything for ransom from the evil of the chastisement on the day of resurrection. And this is an interesting part. It said, and what they never thought of shall become plain to them from Allah. Just, I guess, sort of, it seems like that necessity level comes back into play. And because when you start operating on that necessity level, then it puts you at or near present time, and then you are able to see things that you were not seeing before. Some of it may be something that you never really thought of. And so this talks about the value of Islam on the resurrection day. Those of us who are striving in the cause of Islam, we are more likely not to do as much wrong and uh, and you can see that those who do wrong and do bad and do evil things, that it's gonna look pretty rough, to the point where if they could gather everything on the earth, they would begin to see now the value of their life. See, oftentimes we don't really see and recognize the value of our life as we live, you see. And then 48, and the evil of what they wrought will become plain to them. And that which they mocked at will beset them. And so you know how it is, we live a life of ease, and we don't give, we take things for granted pretty much. And I think these ayats are kind of pointing to that, the fact that we take things for granted. So when harm afflicts a man, he calls upon us, and then we give him a boon from us. And so we talked about the necessity level there. When harm afflicts people, then when the harm afflicts, when we start seeing danger, then we call on Allah right then. And you are in present time, big time. And then when Allah gives you a little relief, then as soon as that necessity level leaves, then you descend back on whatever your chronic tone level was, and then you can't see the hand of Allah. Because Allah comes in, he fixes it, and he fixes it so quick that it's hard for you. Number one, you come out of present time, and when you come out of present time, you definitely will be descending in most cases, not necessarily in all cases, but in most cases, you will begin to descend on the tone scale. And then so he says, I've been given this only by means of knowledge. So you just don't even factor Allah, and you ask Allah for something, he gives it to you. And then so now when you get it, then you say, well, oh yeah, this is cause of something. This is something that I knew, or whatever, And it says, nay, it is a trial, but most of them know not. And I think we were talking yesterday about the hidden trials. There are manifest trials, and then there are hidden trials. Okay? Sister Ania, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Islam.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
I was looking at the footnote for 47. It says, what they never thought of signifies the overthrow of their power in this life and the manifestation of the evil consequences of their deeds in the hereafter. And what I like about the Maulana Muhammad Ali translation is that in his footnotes, he, as well as giving it a spiritual viewpoint, he also gives a practical, more worldly viewpoint as well. And he will give an explanation on different levels, on different from different arenas. That's what I really like about him. So he'll give it from the way it applies to man personally, as well as how it applies to the general community of believers, as well as it applies to the world in general. And so here, when it says what they never thought of signifies the overthrow of their power in this life, then I can equate that with those who are currently in power in this wicked rule, and and the fact that they don't see the end of their power. They don't see themselves ever going out of power. And so as the chastisement befalls, then they will, as it says in the scripture here, that what they never thought of shall become plain to them, that their reign of terror and their reign of thinking that they're so privileged in this life to the cost of everybody else in the world, they never saw that coming to an end, but now they see it. Yes. And then in the next footnote, the second part says the evil consequences of what they do are hidden from the eye in this life. So that again speaks to the fact that they see themselves in that privileged light. This is what's due to them. You know, this, I'm supposed to have this. You're supposed to be worshiping at my feet, you know, at their feet. You're supposed to serve me and always be in a state of servitude. And I'm supposed to have the best of everything. And so that's it becoming plain to them. Is it dawning on their mind and them coming to present time that that's not, what that way of thinking, that they're superior, is actually a sickness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. By Allah. All right. Beautiful. Anybody else? All right. We'll move on to Ayat 53. Sister Aviva, you back yet?
I'll take 53.
All right, go ahead.
Section 6, Divine Mercy. Say, O my servants, who have been prodigal regarding their souls, despair not of the mercy of Allah. Surely Allah forgives sins altogether. He is indeed the forgiving, the merciful.
Praise be to Allah. The notes that I had on that was that it said, don't guilt trip yourself because you get slack from time to time, because I'm pretty sure all of us can say truthfully that we have been slack or prodigal regarding our souls at some point, or regarding the soul that is us. And so just remember that Allah is forgiving. And I think he is indeed the forgiving, the merciful. I think that one thing that we have to sort of add into our understanding of the forgiveness and the mercy of Allah, that Allah forgives us and has mercy on us to give us room to change. Allah sees what this world has made us into, and he wants us to change from these ways. It's like the Million Man March scripture that we used to say all the time, that we say that if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. And this is what Allah really wants us to do. He's not really interested in just some temporary gesture, just a temporary reprieve of wickedness from ourselves. He wants to effect meaningful change, or he wants us, I put it like that, to effect meaningful change in our lives. He wants us to change direction, to see things for what they are, the as is, if you would, these things, and to change. And that's why we're there. I don't want to stay on this, but I guess as that came up, that makes me think about what Sister Tina was saying yesterday about as isness, and as I was saying, I agree, and I think that sort of fits what she was saying. That we Allah wants us to change. And so when we see ourselves as undesirable to Allah, then Allah wants us, it is his will, that we change from being in tune with this world to being in tune with him. And that's what he's really looking for. He's not really looking for, he's not looking for just the rituals. Because see, a lot of people, we accept Islam, and then so where we say, well, he changed because, or she changed because, she's making salat, or he's making salat 5 times a day, and he's practicing the pillars of Islam. He's fasting during Ramadan. But you have a lot of people that do all of these things that turn to the East, but they have not changed. And that's one reason why the scripture says that it's not righteousness that you turn to the East. I'll go through all of these rituals, but it's the righteousness is basically realizing that Allah is God and this is the last day, and believing in Allah and the last day. And if you believe that this is the last day, then this belief puts you in touch with that which is within yourself, that will compel you, that will cause you to have a change in direction. And this is why I remember I think it was 2 years ago when we first started doing the Zoom during Ramadan. I remember myself getting real frustrated at how people, it's almost like we worship the ritual. Yeah, it's Ramadan. So practice Ramadan, but keep the big picture in mind. Practice Ramadan, but realize, my life, death, prayer, sacrifice is all for Allah. I make the fast for Allah and I break the fast for Allah. I'm not fasting because I'm worshiping fasting. I don't worship salat. See, because you can get to the point where you can worship the rituals. And I think that's what a lot of people do. They worship the rituals and get hung up on the rituals. And, and Allah somehow doesn't get in the picture as he ought to get into the picture. Go ahead, Sister Carol.
Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
I hear what you're saying, and this concerns me that and what you're saying applies to whole countries in the East.
Mm-hmm.
They do not believe in Master Farad. They do not believe. And when I was looking at the Afghanistan scrambling to get here, they're Muslims. Why are they trying to come to a country that is ruled grossly by who they call the infidel, and they have the Quran and they're running? Why not use that Quran and stand up to those warriors? You know, like at least Ukraine, I don't know what's the majority religion is there, but here's Afghanistan, they fleeing to America. Not that we should not help them, and my heart goes out to them, but we've been in discussions on my home program at why are they not reading the Quran and getting enough nerve to change things for themselves. We were there over there helping them, so-called, but I think it was more like helping raise that poppy field or whatever field they were raising for drugs. And then the people were made even weaker. But just the thought that now when we bring it on home, I know we love our so-called Orthodox Muslim family. We are one, tell me if I'm saying this right, umat. But many of our Orthodox Muslim family right here in the United States who came through the Nation of Islam, they now do not recognize Master Farad. Not that we should be patient with them, not that we should not be patient with them, but the time of division, if in fact Master Farad is Allah in the person, then there's going to be a reckoning somewhere down the road. We pray that they can see him as who he is, the one, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. And that's the one that we're turning to. And his, as Brother Lukman said, he's turned the Qibla, the messenger turned the Qibla to Minister Farrakhan in his instructions. Wherever you see him, look at him. Whatever he tells you to do, you do it, or wherever he tells you to go, you go. Wherever he tells you to stay from, you stay from. So we're looking now, and as we're praying, it is a huge ritual from my vantage point. And I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm just looking at it as I see it. And I'm open for correction. Thank you for letting me share.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a correction. You know, it's just the thing with the foreign Muslims is that Master Farad Muhammad did not come. He came for them, but he came for us first. And they, especially what Master Farad Muhammad brought us in the way of wisdom, it is really tailored toward us here in the West. And what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did with us using that body of knowledge and wisdom from Master Farad Muhammad rose us up as a nation to the point where they recognized us. The Orthodox Muslims recognized us in Egypt, all over. They recognized us, you see. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was well respected and received when he went overseas as a head of state, you see, because they looked in that which they read of in Quran, they actually saw us practicing, you see. And So there is somewhat of a where there's an ARC break or an ARC breach with us in the Orthodox Muslim world. When you study ARC affinity, where we're not close to the, in proximity to, say, for example, the Afghans, or what would you call them? Afghanistanians, or I think they call them Afghans, right?
Afghans.
Right. And so we don't really have the same, we don't have the proximity. We don't have the reality, because their reality and our reality is different. And then the way they see Quran is different. So all of that affects our communication. And then when you look at the Islamic world in general, as I was saying, that you have people, they think they almost equate salat. And they do it over here. They equate salat with Allah. And they think that all of their salvation is in salat. And it seems to me, now, and I could be wrong, that more emphasis is put on salat really than Allah. A lot of times there's more emphasis put on the prophet, as they say. I remember Mother Tanetta made an observation about that. You go to these mosques and you hardly even hear the word Allah. They're talking about the prophet, and they talk about the rituals and the different things, the different other aspects of the principles of Islam, but not really making the proper contact with the object of these principles. If you making salat, well, who are you making salat to? And then we can see that Islam in the East is relatively weak. It is weak. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he alluded to it. He said, well, if the prophet, peace be upon him, was around when we got captured and kidnapped and brought over, he said the prophet would have came over here. All right, so that leaves the question, well, then what's wrong with the rest of these folks? Can't they see? They deaf, dumb, and blind too. And so, but we do have enough ARC on the basis for affinity, reality, and communication. We have Islam, we have Quran, and so that was one reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we should find a way to unite with the Islamic world, because we have these billions of people who recognize Allah as God, who have grown up into the structure of Islam, but have not witnessed, don't have a real example of someone performing the function of Islam. And this is what attracted people to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he had a group of people, the Nation of Islam, who were functioning Muslims. He had us functioning. You practicing, you praying, and you doing this and you doing that based on what you think the 5 principles are, but Elijah Muhammad had somebody actually doing the work. We was actually making a difference in a country that basically has been against Islam. So this is why, this is one reason why he wanted us to find a way to unite with them. And I have a couple of personal friends, who was with the imams community and all of that. See, the imam, when the imam took over, and he started trying to share some of the wisdom, really, that his father had taught him to the Islamic world. And man, they almost like, nigga, please. Nobody want to hear nothing about no black man from no black man in America. You don't know nothing about Islam. I remember back in the 80s, and I was canvassing, going door to door in down in Fort Valley, Georgia. And there was an African student that was attending Fort Valley State University, answered the door. And so I had the Final Call newspaper and offered him the Final Call newspaper. And you know what he told me? He said, "You don't know nothing about Islam." And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was given the hardest job ever been given. Well, guess what? Guess who got the job now? You and I have that job. And we have that job even among ourselves we got to raise each other up. We have got to help each other come up. And with the really is the real Islam. And see, one thing about the Orthodox too is that, see, they don't have, and this is what Mr. Hubbard have explained, that they don't have an anchor point. See, you got to have, if you got confusion can be defined, one way it can be defined is that you are in a state where there is no immediate answer to you have a problem, and then there's no immediate answer. So you're not, you're confused. Contrafused, con from contra. You're confused. And so I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
No stable datum.
Thank you. Yeah. See, so no stable datum, no reference point. And so when Allah came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, he gave us a stable datum, which is God is a man. If you say God is a spirit, or God is anything really other than a man, and believe me, they've tried it over the years. They said God was the sun. Some people say God was the sun. Some people say God was the moon. Some people say God was the sea. Some people say God was the mountain. Some people say God was this and that. And they all, they all faltered in their belief. And that's manifest proof that this faltered. So finally we get the clear understanding, the clear, stable datum that God is a man. So we have something, the mind has something to anchor itself to. Whereas belief in a mystery God, you are in a constant, you're in a constant state of flux, which could be partially why Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago, he said, what did he say? 3 generations after me, you will not be of me. You see. And I would say, just based on what I understand about the mind, that we are understanding how the mind works now, we can see that if you don't have no stable data, if you talking about my life and my death and my prayer and my sacrifices are for what? Something I can't see, something I can't feel. Well, we get a feel for the personality of God through the 99 attributes. But if we don't have a stable datum to connect all of this to, if all of these attributes of Allah are connected to air or connected to space or something like that, then it just doesn't help. And it hasn't helped, you see. And so the books are legitimate because the books do come from God, but as we are taught that the utmost truth of God's religion was not to be revealed during the time that the devil was supposed to rule. See, but now that his rule was up technically in 1914, and now we have the utmost truth of his religion. His time is up, and Allah is in the process, even right now as we speak, of taking back over. And as Sister Ania was saying, the forces of this world, they never even thought of a world where they were not in power. So that causes them to think thoughts that they had never thought. So go ahead, Brother Wadu.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak. As you mentioned ARC break, I am reminded of the fact that we are told that Master Fard Muhammad came to set down every tyrant on the earth. And those of the Orthodox community who have lived relatively easy lives by Allah's permission, I would imagine in some tyrannical way of exercising their rulership, they don't want to receive the truth that will disrupt their stand and position. And when it comes to their rulership, it's as we have said before, the 85%, 10%, and the 5%, and being able to keep the people blind to the reality. Because I had thought some time back that these so-called rulers of the world, they have to know certain things to be able to rule a country, to rule the planet. You think about these people that they call Prince William or Prince Andrew or Queen Elizabeth or the kings in Saudi Arabia, etc., that they have to know certain realities to be able to rule. And they don't come up with just everyday 85% knowledge and then sit on a so-called throne of a country, because it used to be that they used to say of England that the sun never set on her kingdom because she had so many colonies around the planet. So they have a knowledge in the breakdown of the 5%, 10%, and 85% of the truth, but because the establishment of Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad is opening the eyes of the 85%, they don't choose to receive the truth. And I'll finish with this. We know that from the Willie Lynch letters He said that we believe we have closed down every avenue of light to be able to enter into the mind. So they didn't ever want the 85% to ever be awakened to the truth so that their rule and power could be perpetual. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, brother. Praise be to Allah. Go ahead, Sister Tina.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay? No computer love.
I hadn't got the notion to start dancing yet. So you
Okay.
good.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. When you were talking about stable datum,
Yeah.
it made me think about when the minister in the Swan song was saying, surely I turn myself to, alcohol. We say that, because that, or surely, I turn myself to the reefer, because there's not stable datum there. So with our people are turning themselves to these gods besides Allah, because there's stable datum there. And that's why our work is so important. And because we have stable datum, we're able to explore all walks of knowledge, all kinds of knowledge, because we will know how to and what's not good, because we have the stable datum of Allah coming in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
That's right. That's
and
right.
the teachings. Yeah. So because as I'm doing this study with book one, I came across something that I really didn't agree with. But I was able to still move on because of stable datum,
That's right. That's right. And the stable datum is still another way to describe the big picture. When we look at that big picture, then you can look at little flaws in the smaller picture, and then they don't really throw you off. So I can certainly understand that. Another thing, as you're talking about the stable datum, we have the stable datum, but what we have to do as well is embrace the stable datum in order for the stable datum to have consequence and effect in our lives. We have to embrace it, because just as you were given the example of the ministers, some of the examples that the minister was given, you had people who have the stable datum, but they have not embraced it. You see, and so yes, ma'am, that's a good analogy. Is you done? Is that all you had, sis?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Praise be to Allah. Sister Denise, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I remember when the minister Ishmael and sister, all of the officials went to Mecca, and Ishmael and Brother Imam and them were walking around, and they were talking to some of the Muslims in Mecca, and they were telling them, how over here where they live, they can do the call to prayer. And, we don't have that opposition like you all have in America, trying to be a Muslim, saying you're a Muslim. And then I thought about how much opposition just saying you're a Muslim here in America, that opposing view or just watching you like you're gonna attack them or whatever they saw on television. And then I was thinking about Surah 29, that where we may have to assess the tiger and thinking about which way we gonna deal with it, you know. And you know, they didn't even have the tiger. I'm just saying in general, where we have to, you know, watch our back, because you was talking about the Elijah Muhammad and how he put in us, and that's why I was telling people, she was saying, where is your hijab? And I said, this is my hijab, my headpiece. And she was saying, well, you know, how I need to be covered. So I live in America. You know, this is America. And the way they dress, I'm covered, sister. You know, because you know, when you're going to war, whether it's with yourself or in general as being a Muslim woman in America, in the Nation of Islam, and striving to be upright, it's always, you know, do men think that they would be left alone? Nobody, they're not going to leave you alone. Over here, this is the meddling pot, I would say, that the opposition is always, not sometimes around the corner, but constantly in your face, you know. And for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to be here and to say Islam in America, his brother, I don't know if his brother Aline or whatever say, don't get it twisted, Black Muslims in America, he put emphasis on that. You know, it's always something coming at us. And so that's why he was saying, I don't know if it was the messenger, I'm not, that he would bulldoze the Kaaba, because the minister was trying to get us to see that we need to look at it within ourselves, you know, and not just like you said, the ritual. So that's what I was thinking about as you all were talking, and how they could just walk around, you know, and everything is cream and peaches, but you come over here in America, you're going to be singing a different song over here. So that's what I thought about. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sis. That, and what you, as you were talking, it made me think about just the volume of so-called Orthodox Muslims. Sometimes I used to, you know, when I was working a lot, you know, as a musician, and I'd play a lot of events at hotels and stuff like that. And you go, a lot of the Muslims are in the hospitality industry. And so sometimes you go in and they had a name tag on, you know, Muhammad Aziz, you know, some Muslim name. And so it's like you come up to you, say, Assalamu alaikum. And man, it's like it scares them to death. You know, man, you about to blow, as if they were saying, man, you about to blow my cover. You know what I mean? And they just they don't stand up with boldness. And frankly, some of us in the nation are like that too. You know, we kind of really do a big tippy toe type of thing when we get around white folks. We don't want to, we don't want to let them know exactly where we are. I can understand that, you know, to a certain degree. And it's certainly that's not as prevalent among us as it is with the those in the Orthodox community. But I feel you, Sister Denise. Go ahead, Sister Carol.
Brother Wadud made me think when he was talking about the princes and England and how they were going to cut all the light that would be coming to us if they possibly could. It made me think on something that Dr. Ava said. She said, like the crown prince of Arabia, he's more in a line with the Trump
mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And he has allowed the United States, somebody correct me, I saw it on Frontline, I think, that's not always the truth, how they had the armament set up aimed at Iran. And the Crown Prince allowed it. He also took the picture of the American mafioso and what they were saying on Frontline, per Frontline, that he had certain people killed, like news people, and cut them up and put them in a suitcase, and they have a thing where they're not allowed to use their phones, their smartphones as they would want to. So it made me think of what Dr. Ava said. She said their Islam is just a culture. It's their culture. It's not necessarily they don't see it as a religious way of life as we do. So as you were showing, Brother Batin, that even within us, we're not using our reference point, our reference point, even within the Nation of Islam. So, and like with them, it's even farther away from Allah, whoever they call Allah. We're saying Master Farad, Allah came in his person, but they have had, and as you referred to what the Prophet Muhammad said, peace and blessings upon him, that 3 generations after me would not be of me. Someone correct me if I said that wrong.
No, that's right.
Okay, so then we're looking at a culture as opposed to they're calling on Allah, but they're just doing it. It's a whole ritual. If it's a culture, it's not connecting one's soul to the creator, the originator. They're not out to do that. In fact, there's so many different generations. They could be Jews. Like the minister talks about Chinese Jews. We don't know what generation that's ruling the Kaaba right now. It could be the satanic Jew, because we can only go according to how they demonstrate what they say they believe. But at this point, we can look at it, and they're proving it to us that it's just a culture, and they're not seeking oneness with the originator of the universe. Thank you for letting me share.
Yes. Yeah, well, it is by and large it's a cultural thing, and even the Quran talks about how people do what they found their fathers doing. So, they don't really have it, like I sometimes a man can, so you can grow up in the nation, or you can be in the Nation of Islam, and you come into the Nation of Islam, and then your children come into the nation just because they saw you was in the nation. And then pretty soon, then they start seeing, maybe they may start seeing something else on their own. And so the cultural thing, I can really see what Sister Ava was talking about. It's based more on culture, even though when I look at culture and I think of culture, I think of just a collective reality, a collective viewpoint of things, the culture, right? And in athletic teams, they say, well, we have a culture of winning. So that means the collective attitude in that group is one where they all really want to win, you see. And so I just wanted to say that just so we could could delineate this thing of culture. But I do agree myself that it is more of a cultural thing, and it doesn't really go much deeper than this is what I found my fathers doing, and I have not really been able to think beyond what my fathers was thinking about. Okay, we're getting kind of close here. You got something else you want to say, Brother Wadu?
Yes, very quickly. I had forgotten to also say that as I see our people, Black people, joining on to the Orthodox community, I'm reminded of what I heard the minister say. I don't remember which lecture it was, when it comes to our Christian brothers and sisters who still have hope in America. He said, after all that they've done to our ancestors and foreparents, we still have hope that being a part of America, that it's going to do something for us. And I'm paraphrasing. And I see those who leave or left the Nation of Islam to join on to the Orthodox community as having hope that the Orthodox Islam would do more for them. And I believe the minister even said they join on to the Orthodox community to still be a servant.
Yes, absolutely.
That was it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Sister Anya.
I think Sister Denise had her hand up before me.
I think that she just had not taken it down.
Oh, okay. I was going to reference what Sister Tina had brought up about the stable datum, and which and Sister Carol's comment about the Muslims in the East, how they're not connected when in their prayer and their fasting is not connected, their soul is not really connected to Allah, and it being ritualistic. And it made me think of this, the stable datum for us in the Nation of Islam is point number 12. And I remember when I was visiting my family in England and being with my two brothers who are in Orthodox Islam, they're constantly pointing out how I'm following in the incorrect way. And it just got so bad one day, the three of us were in the car driving, and I really felt so deeply that I was being attacked. And they were trying to say that I was not a true Muslim. And I found myself just declaring, that I'm not putting them down just because they believe the way they do. I'm not calling you out as being a false Muslim. So why do you have to label me that? And that I do believe in Prophet Muhammad, and as well as believing in Prophet Muhammad, I also believe that Allah, God, appeared to us and made himself known in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, and that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his servant, the exalted Christ, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine representative among us, our divine warner and reminder. And I mean, I stated it just like that to them, and there was absolute silence in the car. And from that point on, they just decided to look, we'll just leave her alone. But as the comments were made today, I connected that with that being my stable datum.
Mm-hmm.
To hold things together for me,
because that's right. It's data that gives you stability.
Yes, sir. They were trying to invalidate that the knowledge that we have.
And sometimes when people do that, they actually are a bit insecure themselves, and And they are somewhat insecure because they don't have a stable data. We know at the core, you ain't got nothing stable that you holding on to. At the core, you understand what I'm saying? Now, the structure of Islam, has, I guess it serves a certain purpose of unity, but at the very core, they don't, when you praying to air, you praying, what does the messenger say? You praying to ether, So I can relate because I've gone through all of that stuff. I remember I was just coming as a young Muslim. I had to deal with people from the imams community who were all friends of mine. And they went to the imam, and I can't say I went to the imam with them, but I just, I would sometimes loan them some of my audio equipment because the imam would have a telephone hookup. And so they needed an amplifier. And I had the equipment to enable them. And I would, I would do that for them, And so when it got to the point when the minister stood up, and then I was able to start really talking about what I really believe, because I had some backup, from the minister. Then, oh man, they just really they came out in much the same way as you're talking about, Sister Annie. So that's part of the cross that we have to bear. But see, we know, through this technology, we understand now why most of these people that these people worship rituals. They ain't got no, I ain't gonna say they ain't got none, but it's very little, I'll put it like this. Their integrity is suspect. I don't know how much I can really trust somebody that whose God don't really even damn exist except in their mind. Now, Master Farad Muhammad exists. When I see you, I'm looking at Master Farad Muhammad. This, this is this gathering of people is proof to me that Master Farad Muhammad exists. You see, and so we know these things, but then at the same time, we have to have and take the posture that we are the stewards of our people. We are the vanguard, and we know the wise person, does not get so excited when he's confronted with ignorance. I'm going to move on to unless you got something else you want to say, Sister Anya. I'm going to move on to Brother Rashid. You good, Sister Anya?
Yes, sir, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right. Brother Rashid, and then Brother Jason, and then that's gonna do it. We're gonna spend a little time. I want to spend a little bit more time. I just wanted to kind of touch back over that point that we had talked about yesterday about the as isness. So, Brother Rashid, go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, family.
Alaikum salam, sir.
So I was thinking about when you were saying that they followed their fathers, and how those who stay in that lifestyle are just repeating what it is that they know that their fathers did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. They talk about that all through the Bible.
Right, that's right.
You want us to do that, not which our Father does.
Mm-hmm.
But what caught my attention about that is that when the reading of the Quran, Allah referred to a particular group of people as the fool. And that was the first time I noticed that he used that. But he was referring to those who say that we follow what our fathers follow. And I just thought that to be very interesting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then that is sort of the extent of the depth of their covenant, of their commitment, as Sister Ava had said, is, you know, if it's just a cultural thing, then that means you it's like you on automatic pilot, you know what I mean? And so, yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Brother
Yes,
Jason, go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Just real briefly, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Alaikum salam, Ramadan Kareem.
Yeah, I'll just bearing witness to what everyone said. And we have what makes sense the most. At the end of the day, people can say what they want, but we have what makes sense the most. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Praise be to Allah. I just want to say in closing the Quranic discussion, if I can get Sister Haviva to read Ayat 67, then we're going to go to this last part where we talk about the as-isness. Go ahead, sis.
Yes, sir. Ayat 67. And they honor not Allah with the honor due to him. The whole earth will be in his grip on the day of resurrection, and the heavens rose up in his right hand. Glory be to him, and highly exalted is he above what they associate with him.
Okay, this basically is self-explanatory to me. It's like, if we don't honor Allah with the honor due to him, then this puts our relationship with Allah out of balance, you see. And to realize that, you know, we're living in this is the day of resurrection. This is the day of judgment, that Allah's grip is on us today, and that we should give him his proper due. And I guess just about everything we've just said in the last 15 or 20 minutes goes back to the whole stable datum thing. And like I say, and when you break that word, this is stable data that stabilizes you. Because if you think that Allah is a mystery, that is a very unstable. That's unstable data. Yes, all praise is due to Allah. All right. So what I wanted to do now is I just wanted to very briefly, we had talked about the thing yesterday that Sister Tina had brought up. And I have to say that as I said yesterday, I agree with you, with the thinking of as-isness. As-isness is you look at something as it is, and then you alter it, you know, to be what you want it to be. And I think that's the main thing. I guess the thing that kind of I ain't gonna say it threw me off. It didn't really throw me off. It just that when you it really made me look at it really a little bit deeper than I had looked at it up to that particular point. Because when you start talking about the example that we used was that if you are a liar, okay, so the way that I have been using, and really the way that I have been teaching on as-isness, it would be from the standpoint of an auditor. And so an auditor, when you audit somebody, you generally audit a single incident, or you audit, say, for example, an engram, you see. So the engram, by auditing the engram, then you are able to, by going over it over and over again, then you gradually begin to see the incident as it is. And then when you see it as it is, then all of the negative charge goes off of it. Okay. So now when you say a single incident as opposed to, say, a generalization, say a liar would be more of a generalization, you follow what I'm saying, of a particular thing. And so so I guess it just hit me that you would treat that a little different. And I just I looked this early this morning, yesterday. I could not put my hand on the data that addresses a generalization. See, a generalization just like say like a liar, and then an individual incident such as an engram, which have very specific content. And then where you have, when you address a liar, then you have certain variables that are present in that. So I agree that you can see that as is, and the whole formula of as is, and the formula that what the minister said when he said it really is, that's the formula that the minister gave us in the study guides, as Sister Tina was saying, is that you examine, you analyze. So, and I guess the analyzing would be the as is, and then the correction would be the alter is. So, far as I'm concerned, we're on the same page with that. However, I'm going to try and see if because there are 2 or 3 different contexts that I have studied this thing of as isness with, and I'm sure that there's some data that would treat the differences between the examples. You follow what I'm saying? And as soon as I'm able to find that, I will share that with you. You good, Sister Tina?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I I was looking at it this morning in the technical dictionary, and I had to I saw where L. Ron Hubbard was saying as alter is inserting a lie, something like that. He said.
Right.
So I went to lie because his definitions don't always be like we're used to, seeing. So I went to lie in the technical dictionary, and yeah, it connected all with the changing, to change for the better, because it is the cycle of life, right? The condition of life, condition.
The condition as is a condition, is the condition of existence. Yeah, as is.
Condition of existence.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's all about change, cycles of change, right? Just, to get to that optimum, state.
Right.
Is it?
Right. That's what you do. Yeah. That's why would you alter? When Allah created the universe, he saw that it wasn't perfect, so he altered.
Yeah. So I think it's very interesting. All praises due to Allah. This is a very interesting study. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. We're going to close it out with you, Sister Carol.
And very quickly, would the lie that manifests to us be like you said in music? Our ears are not sensitive to hear all the notes or the different notes, and we hear just one note, but within that note that our ears are equipped to hear are a bunch of other notes being played at the same time. So could we say that's what a lie is in an individual? That what we see is the lie, but within that lie or within that character of that individual.
I wouldn't call it a lie, not in that particular case, because you are most people can only hear the one note. I can hear it because my ear is trained. You know, I have had ear training to where I can hear harmonics, and even when I tune the guitar, I tune the guitar with harmonics. You know, so I wouldn't say that would be the lie. That's really a whole nother thing when you start talking about the lie, and that's what kind of threw me yesterday when we were talking about it. Because if you remember, if you listen back at the recording, you'll see that I use that termination, the lie, and so Mr. Hubbard he uses that stuff in different contexts, and so you just have to kind of try to figure it out for yourself, and I'm still figuring it out, sis. But the harmonics are not lies. They may present themselves as different notes, but they actually are parts of the same notes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think I see where you're going. I think I see where you're going with it. I think your train of thought is right, but in that particular instance, you know, and I'm not saying abandon that train of thought, you know, but I'm just saying in that particular incidence of the fundamentals and the harmonics and the partials, no, these are all one. This is all part of the note. There's no lies there, you know. It's just certain aspects that you don't hear. You see. But they are all true. They are all true to the note. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But hold on to that train of thought, because that's good. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, Sister Tina, everybody. So thank you, Sister Dorana, Sister Jacqueline, Brother Rashid, Brother Wadu, Brother Jason, Sister Haviva, Sister Tina, Brother Montgomery, Sister Ania, Brother Mujahid, Sister Carol, Sister Carolyn, Sister Carol Asada, and Sister Denise, and I forgot my number one, Sister Belinda. Anyway, thank you all for your attention. Thank you for your support. And see, all of this stuff, it is just beautiful though. See, because when people come up with questions, see, these are some very probing and very intelligent questions. Man, I could take y'all out to the Church of Scientology, and they'll be sending straight jackets to them folks. They can't handle the Nation of Islam. They can't handle the scientists that's coming up, because we got the real stable datum. They don't have the stable datum that we have, you see. And so thank you all so much for your participation, and I look forward to seeing you again. Your beautiful smiling faces are these beautiful pictures that I see on the screen. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. May Allah continue to bless each and every one of you as we close out in prayer. Attention prayer. And we pray. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in thee from anxiety and grief. I seek that refuge from lack of strength and laziness. I seek that refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. And I seek that refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. Suffice thou me with that which is lawful, turn away from me that which is prohibited by thee, and by thy grace make me free of want of what is besides thee. Ameen. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ameen.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan
Ramadan
Kareem.
Kareem, sir.
Ramadan Kareem. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Walaikum
alaikum
Salam.
salam.
Assalamu alaikum
Ramadan Kareem,
rahmatullah.
family. Assalamu
All
alaikum.
right. Tomorrow, same time, same bat cave. Assalamu
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Rabakata.